Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our 26th webinar. Oh my God, how time flies. This webinar is brought to you by Atara Solutions. My name is Grace Nzula. I am a trainer and HR consultant with Atara Solutions and a manager at Panessa Training Institute. Atara Solutions is a HR consulting firm and training. It's a HR consulting and training company that provides total HR solutions to employers and employees. We also provide training services in HR, soft skills, and sales. For more information, kindly reach us out to info@atarasolutions.co.ke. Get It Right with the Solutions with Atara Solutions is a platform that seeks to demystify issues in entrepreneurship and employment. We do this in partnership with Zalego Academy, our capacity building and placement center. For those of you who would like to polish your IT skills or gain some skills, if you're looking at your website and thinking this one needs upgrading, or if you have a small brother who you're thinking, let this person just learn how to do websites, how to develop softwares. And if you're an organization who is looking for IT people, you're looking to hire IT qualified people, you can speak to Zalego at you can speak to Eric at zalego.com. You can also visit their social media pages for more details, and their email is at Zalego Academy. Congratulations to our winners in November and December. I mean, we have had such an awesome time. Walter Kyoko won the Scalarizer class with Wild International. Natalie Kamuche received a beautiful, beautiful gift hamper from JC Beauty. We have Rofens Mukamburi who won a gift pack from Pal Radio. By the way, all of them have been able to collect their gifts. We're waiting for Walter Kyoko to attend his class probably in January. We have Monica Karanja, Jacinta Kisungi, Joseph Wanjiro, and Christine who won gift hampers from Soilex. We have Donna Karaoke who won a cake from Capriccio Pastries. Catherine and Charity who won a grocery package from Nanyuki, Good Fortune Greens in Nanyuki. By the way, if you're in Nanyuki and you're looking for groceries, especially for those of you who are going on holiday and taking on Airbnbs, kindly speak to Good Fortune Greens. They can deliver for you from meat to your nyanya na kitungu to the wax. So if you're going to Nanyuki for your holidays or you live in Nanyuki, kindly talk to Good Fortune Greens. We have Evans Kiprotich and Joseph Karume who won gift hampers from Balcon Housing. By the way, both of them, one is in Nakuru, the other one is in Kericho, and their goodies were posted there, and they all received. In October, we had Whitney Joy and Lois Mungai who won the offer from Sorel Laundry in Ruaka. Regina Mutuko who won a gift hamper from Tanu's Kitchen. Kabara Jen who won a gift from Pal Radio. Kabara Jen and Whitney Joy, please get in touch with me. I have written you guys emails and I'm not getting a response. Please note we cannot take these gifts to next year. We will choose another winner, I think. Kindly reach out to me so that we can organize your delivery. We continue to celebrate life. It's Christmas time and we still have offers for you. Currently, we are running an offer from LXR Group. They are going to set up a Facebook page for one of the entrepreneurs. They are a marketing agency, an advertising agency, and we'll tell you all about them next week as we do Boost with Facebook. We have Kapila Mintito in Mombasa who will be giving you some good giveaways. Oh my God. Their stuff is mouth-watering. Oh dear Lord. Anyway, we have Serenity Studios who are producing our videos and photographs. You can check them out on Instagram and Facebook. For the expectant moms, they have awesome, awesome packages for you. They have an outfit for you. And on top of that, they give you a beautifully done photo book. Oh my God, your memories with your baby bump will be forever. And then we have Pal Radio 96.9 FM in Nairobi. It's a Christian station. They also have been gifting our audience. That is 96.9 FM in Nairobi, Pal Radio. We have Good Fortune Greens, a good green grocery shop in Nanyuki. We have JC Beauty who are offering natural hair and beauty products. We have Wild International who offered a free Scalarizer class. Scalarizer is a flagship program developed over the last 15 years, enabling entrepreneurs to identify the principles of becoming profitable in business. So if you're looking to grow your business into profits, Scalarizer class is for you. By the way, I attended the class last week. Oh my God, the aha moments during those sessions. Any entrepreneur, my friend, if you really need to take that class. Honestly, let me not spoil it for you. And then we have Balcon Housing, a real estate company. They are in the business of buying and selling land and managing real estate in Nairobi. So if you're looking for a plot somewhere in Nanyuki or in Nairobi, Nakuru, everywhere, they are all over the country. We have Capriccio Pastries, who run a cake shop. You can check them out on Instagram at Capriccio_T. Tonight, as promised, some of you will get a chance to walk away with some giveaways. So like I mentioned, this is our 26th webinar. We started with how to register your business legally. And last week we were looking at emotional intelligence. Self-care is a must. If you missed any of these webinars, go to our YouTube channel. That is, now we've changed the name to Get It Right with the Tara Solutions, because probably that's the name you know. So you can check them out on Get It Right with the Tara Solutions on YouTube, and you can catch up. Next week will be the last session. And we have partnered with Wild International to bring to you Boost with Facebook. I don't know whether most of you have taken that class, but I know some of you have. So it is going to be brought home to those of you who haven't. And for those of you who have, I mean, learning doesn't stop. So next week we are doing Boost with Facebook. As always, allow me to remind you why Get It Right with the Tara Solutions started. Did you know that 22% of businesses fail in the first year? 30% in the second year, 50% in the fifth year, and 70% by the 10th year. And therefore, we decided to educate and equip you with skills that will help you become better in running your businesses. I am honored and privileged to introduce our speaker of the day, Mr. Victor Omolo. Victor has so many things. I had, first of all, to ask him why he has a company called The Peculiar People. And he says that all people are peculiar. We all have peculiar challenges and therefore require peculiar people to solve them. So here is Victor. He is a coach and a trainer, very experienced in the areas of entrepreneurship, mental health, coaching, human resources, leadership, management, among, I could talk and talk and talk. He has experience that spans from Kenya to all over the world. I am seeing here, there's Kenya, Uganda, Cameroon, South Africa, UAE, and the USA. So you guys are totally, totally in safe hands. Therefore, Victor, what is your favorite meal?
Fish.
Fish.
That's an easy one.
Yeah. You cook?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So what do you cook best?
Well, my wife loves my omena and matumbo, and our daughter enjoys spaghetti. So
you cook those best, or is it okay? Anyway, so out of about a year back, I was going through therapy, and my therapist told me that, Grace, I think most of your problems are as a result of burnout. And it was about this time of the year. And I actually had no clue that I had fatigue. I was burnt out. I was just literally on autopilot. Literally. I used to forget. I used to feel overwhelmed. And I'm wondering, how many of us actually know when we're burnt out? How many of us actually know what to do? And what are the telltale signs? I mean, Eric keeps telling me, my dear, you need to rest. And I keep wondering, why do you say I need to rest? I mean, I'm high energy. So please, Victor, demystify this thing for us.
Yeah, sure. We're gonna be talking about that, Grace, and why it is not easy to detect. Apparently, sometimes, like the way you just mentioned, some people it may be easier for people around you to actually identify it better than you. So we'll be looking at those signs and why it's important to address, just whatever it is you're going through, especially burnout. Yeah. So with that, Shall we dive into it?
Please, please, please.
Okay, fantastic. So here we go. Welcome all. Good evening to you. I'm very happy to be here and to be taking you through this. Let me start us off here. And of course, this is what we're talking about, identifying and dealing with burnout. I think I've already seen a question, someone asking, how do you differentiate between fatigue and burnout? And we're going to be looking at that. This material was developed in conjunction with Good Startup, and we've done a couple of other researches that we've put here together. It's just a piece of a bigger part, but this is what we're going to be covering today to give us some perspective into burnout, identifying if you're burnt out or not. So I'd like to start by talking about something here, and we're going to be talking about our wedding, our honeymoon, and a mosquito. And how in the world did a mosquito end up in this story?
Yes.
So as you can see in this photo, that's me, you know, harusi tunayo hatuna.
Bas.
Yeah, you can see I'm trying to get my jig there. My wife and I trying to get our jig there. All right. So this was 9 years ago, actually 9 years ago on our wedding. And, you know, I mean, it was a beautiful day. We had looked forward to it. And so this is where the mosquito comes in. So we just got married. It was a wonderful day. We enjoyed it. And then we went to Karen. And then after that, we went off to Mombasa, of course, to enjoy our honeymoon. But 3 days into the honeymoon, I was unwell. You know, it just started. I was just feeling off in the morning, and by noon, we had to cancel the day's plans. We went back to the hotel room. By 2 p.m., the hotel staff were actually called. You know, now my wife, my new bride is just panicking all over the place, thinking, what's going on? This is our honeymoon. How can this be happening during our honeymoon? All right. And by about 3 p.m., things were really crazy. I had to be rushed to hospital. By the time I got to hospital, these were the doctor's words. The doctor told my wife, who was panicking, if you came here a few minutes later, this would have been a different case. Right? So in our honeymoon, I almost died. You know, I was admitted. Fortunately, of course, I'm here, so I didn't die. But that was a close call. The interesting thing is, as I was recovering, after 3 days, now I'm recovering, I'm able to walk and all that, my wife falls ill. All right, so she's right there next to me in hospital. And now I'm the one with my drip, you know, those drip sticks with my drip, looking for the doctor, telling the doctor, please come and tend to my wife, because now she's the one who is in trouble. And we were both unwell. And so this is what actually happened. The doctor told us that we were burnt out. And as a result of the burnout, the mosquito had its opportunity to, you know, because we were down with malaria, and mine was really severe. And the interesting thing here is this: we were not burnt out because this was a bad thing. I mean, it was our wedding, it was a honeymoon. Of course, we were looking forward to it, but we were burnt out all the same, just preparing, you know, meeting people, you know, going through all the fundraising and all that. So burnout is not always as a result of things that are bad necessarily. Burnout is not always as a result of, you know, happy feelings or COVID-19. Burnout can also happen as a result of some things that we're passionate about and things that we enjoy, things that we love. So as we get into this, just have that in mind. It is not always the bad things that cause burnout. Even the good things, things that we're passionate about, can cause burnout. Yeah. So let's dig a little deep and just find out what burnout is. And as you can see here, what we're saying is that passion and motivation get exhausted. Remember that passion and motivation get exhausted. And this comes from excessive and prolonged stress. Of course, some of this may be familiar. Constant and heavy pressure to perform, minimal resources, all right, for coping, emotional capacity exceeding our daily, you know, capacity to take it in, and then feelings of overload. Now, areas that can, bring up an burnout include work, relationships. You can actually be burnt out in a relationship. And some people, break off relationships thinking that the other person is wrong, but it's just simply burnout. All right. Family, of course, dealing with family, and then also health and so on and so forth. These are some examples. But one of the things that results from burnout and where we will really zoom in on is what we call passive anxiety management. So throughout this, please remember that passive anxiety management. That is one of the things that actually causes burnout. So we're going to do a short poll here, and Eric, you can put up the first poll. And what we're asking is, what areas do you feel burnout? So we've shared family, we've shared, as you can see, those are your options. There's family, there's work, or your business. Are you feeling burnout in your work or business, relationships, or COVID-19? That's something that we've been dealing with this year. So in those 4 areas, let's see. Just do let's do a quick poll, and let's see where we feel burnout most. Is it your family? Is it, and by the way, family, especially for mothers, if you're a new mom or a single mom, this is one of those areas, by the way, that people also experience burnout with newborn babies and all that. So the results are coming in. We'll just give it about a few more seconds. Yeah. So that we can be very aware. All right. Okay. So let's close it at that point. Let's close it at that point. And then let's see the results. Let's see the results from what we are looking at in terms of burnout, at least what a lot of us are facing. So as you can see, we have here work and business leading. Yeah. And then closely followed by relationships. Yeah, followed by relationships, and then family, and then finally COVID-19. All right. So just keep.
I've seen my friend friend that she's burnt out from everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, it is possible to get burnout from multiple areas. Okay. So just keep those areas in mind as we move along. So studies. So this was a study that was done around burnout, and check this out. I think this is something that should grab our attention just in terms of taking care of ourselves. Where there's heavy job demands, it was found out that there's a 35%, actually over 35% chance of physician diagnosed illness, which means if you have visited the hospital this year, 35%, it basically means that 35% of those chances would have come from heavy demands, heavy job demands resulting from burnout. Long working hours apparently is deadly. And if you look at Japan, Japan has a long history of long working hours, and it also has one of the leading causes of suicide in Japan is long working hours. All right, and then job insecurity because of poor health, 50%. So as you can see, this is just data to show us the dangers that we face on a daily basis. All right. Now, this should now help us to identify burnout. All right, these are some of the things that will help us to identify burnout. So there are 4 signs that we'll look at. Number 1 is exhaustion, and there's the thought pattern. Grace, I can see your reaction there. All right. So yes. as we go through this, just try and figure out which one do you resonate with most. So it's exhaustion. This is the thought pattern. This is what is going on through your mind if you're exhausted. I physically and emotionally can't do this anymore, even though I may want to. All right. And then the example there is too much to do, too little time to do it, and too few resources to support it. Yeah. Then sign number 2 is lack of motivation, where the thought pattern there is I physically and emotionally can't do this anymore because I don't really want to. Now here you're just saying, I don't have the motivation, I don't want to do this. Yeah. Then an example is doing repetitive work with little variation, giving a lot, but receiving little and feeling undervalued. So for some of you who are working with bosses that are not very friendly, you can almost identify with that. And then sign number 3, feeling ineffective. Nothing I do really matters. I don't have the resources to support to make a real contribution. So the environment of heavy criticism, few opportunities for personal expression to try something new. And then finally, frustration and cynicism. So where you feel like this organization doesn't align with its core values, it just exists for its executives and its own selfish reasons. All right. So these are the 4 signs of burnout: exhaustion, lack of motivation, feeling ineffective, frustration, and cynicism. All right. Grace, can you where do you think you're at?
No, currently I'm fine. But I've been on exhaustion quite a while.
All right. So let's actually do a second poll and find out where you are at. We've talked about exhaustion, lack of motivation, feeling ineffective, frustration, and cynicism. So let's actually have the second poll. And, so that's now your question number 2. Do you think you're at exhaustion? Do you think you're at lack of motivation, feeling ineffective, or frustration and cynicism? So let's do this poll and just see where we fall. Are you exhausted? Now we're actually doing question number 2. What are you experiencing presently? So let's see where we are at as far as the 4 steps, or rather the 4 types of fatigue are concerned. And I can see here as the results are coming in. By the way, before I share that on the results, if you're going through this, if you're exhausted, if you're just feeling tired, I don't want to take it lightly. I respect, of course, that we have to do what we have to do. And of course, it does cost us. So I respect the fact that you're just sharing what you're going through right now. Okay.
Elizabeth is asking, can one have all the signs? I think so.
Yes, you can. Yes. So it's just
Wallace,
that
Wallace is saying, I can only see the previous poll. The questions are together. So you go to question 2, Wallace. And anyone else who is wondering what we are answering. The second question 2 is what we are answering. Question 1 was the one we did a poll before. Now we are saying, what are you experiencing?
Yeah, thank you for that clarification, yeah. Grace. Yeah, good. And I have seen changes there, so it means people have actually seen that. Okay, so let's close the poll here and then we see how we're doing. With that, let me share the results. And as you can see, now we're looking at number 2, not number 1, number 2. And as you can see there, we have exhaustion. People leading their exhaustion, followed by frustration and cynicism, and then lack of motivation and feeling ineffective. So yeah, it's clear that people are actually exhausted. And that's understandable also given that the time of the year, just coming, at this point of the year. All right, so let's now move on to do this last, we'll do this quick test. If you have a calculator near you, just grab your calculator. Now we are bringing it personally, you're bringing it home just to figure out where you're at as far as burnout is concerned, okay? And you can see this is something very simple. We have 7 questions, and on each question, you'll either score 5. 5 means always or to a very high degree. So you'll score 5 if it's always or to a very high degree. You will score 4 if it's often or to a high degree. And then 3 if it's sometimes or somewhat. 2 if it is seldom or to a low degree, and score 1 where it is never or almost never. So for each question, just read the question, and if you have a calculator, score, for example, 5, and then plus, you go to the next question, you read the question, and then you score it. So maybe plus 2. So that way, so you're basically adding up 7 figures there. So you'll add up 7 figures on your calculator. And then now we actually find out, we pinpoint where exactly you're at as far as burnout is concerned. And then after that, we'll discuss some strategies to deal with burnout. All right,
I can bet you most of our audience will be the tired, emotionally exhausted, work frustrated. Oh yeah, and this one for entrepreneurs, I know. Do you wonder how much longer you can keep up this pace? That one I know. Yeah. Anyway. Oh yeah, the answers are coming.
Good. As you share those answers, what figures do you see? Just give me 2 or 3 figures.
We have 31, we have 20, we have 26, we have 25, we have 28, 32. I guess they're coming. We have 21. The lowest so far is 20. The highest is 32.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Grace.
The lowest is at 18 now.
Oh, 18.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we have 18, 19, 20, 30, 34. Yeah, 32, sorry.
Okay. So this is where it gets personal. We've just done a test to figure out how, where you're at in burnout, in the burnout scoring. So if you're between 10 and 15, that is manageable stress with occasional risk for burnout, which means you're okay, but if you don't manage it well, you risk falling into burnout. If you're between 16 to 22, you're at moderate risk of burnout. All right. Now, if you're 23 to 29, you are at a high risk of burnout. All right. And then 30 to 35, you're already burnt out. All right.
So technically, in our audience, we don't have anyone who is below 15. So everyone is at 16 to 20. I mean, the minimum was 18.
Yeah, which tells us something. We are all dealing with burnout. Yeah, it's just that the levels are varying, but we're all dealing with burnout. Yeah. So now let's talk about some strategies that can help us to deal with burnout. Now that we have assessed where we're at in terms of burnout, the dangers of burnout, and just defining what burnout is, the types of burnout, let's talk about some strategies that will help us as far as burnout is concerned. These are some 6 stages of burnout. Let me just take us quickly through them before we talk about the strategies. Stage 1 is compulsion to prove oneself by working harder. You want to prove, you're seeking validation. Stage 2 is neglecting needs and displacing conflicts. Stage 4 is revision of values or denial of problems. All right. Sorry, that was stage 3. And then stage 4 is withdrawal and behavior changes begin. All right. Stage 5 is depersonalization and inner emptiness. All right. That's actually not a good place to be. And finally, this is where depression, anxiety, and stress, that is stage 6, which means it is fully blown, which in some cases may actually require quick medical attention. Now, we talked about passive management being one of the key things that prevents us from taking care of ourselves and achieving burnout. All right. So we want to shift from passive management, all right, to what we call active anxiety management. There are very many strategies, but today we will focus on this one, what we call active anxiety management. Now, as we do this, please note that your mind and your body they work together. So if you're unwell in your mind, that definitely affects your body. And as we have seen, you may have gone to the doctor this year thinking that you're physically unwell, but the issue really was just burnout. So start with awareness. Understand, where am I anxious? What am I holding on to? What am I trying to control? Once you uncover that and you begin to name it, that is helping you to be active in anxiety management. And then catch it when it's smaller. Don't wait for it to be big. Take it seriously and act now. All right. Take immediate action when it's still small, and then manage as part of the business. This is, if you're running a business, make it part of your business to, as a community, manage it together. Let's manage it together. If you're in HR, you have people, let's do it together. And then preventative scheduled treatment. So I want to share with you some things that can help you in terms of scheduling, preventing burnout. So this is a strategy that you can actually choose, all right? And we'll break it down into three. There's physical, mental, and emotional. These are things that are very simple and you can actually do. So let's look at physical. This is it is most effective for low mobility, feeling stuck or suffocated. Physical exercise will help you. And we'll discuss how simple this is. And then examples there is yoga, hiking, jogging, dancing. I enjoy dancing with our daughter. So dancing there, and healthy diet, of course. Please note, and this is where I want to underline some things. Some of us already exercising, but we do that only. And now that's where the error is, because if your emotions are neglected, your exercising won't do you
any good.
All right. So please be careful with that. And then mental. This is most effective if you have scattered, racing, or ruminating thoughts. So just thoughts that, so for some of us who are not able to sleep, or, we just have anxiety attacks at night. So this will be very good for you. Meditation, journaling, being still, doing breathing exercises, taking day naps, where that works, you can do that. However, once again, I underline, it won't be effective if your body is neglected. So you're trying to take care of your mind, but you're neglecting your body, all right? That won't be effective. And then finally, emotional, interpersonal drama and self-compassion. Like right now, a lot of us may actually be in need of this because of the social distancing and that we have experienced. So random acts of kindness, mindfulness, music, nature, gratitude. Random acts of kindness, let me just give you something there. If you notice someone else is experiencing something you're going through, and if you can help, reach out to them. That actually helps. It looks a bit weird, but it actually does help. Now, please note that it won't be helpful if your mind is neglected. Okay, so they work hand in hand, and your strategy would look something like this on your schedule. All right, this is for just a week's example. So on day 1, you focus on your physical. Day 2, you look at your mental health. Day 3, you focus on your emotional. Day 4, you go back to your physical and do something different. And guess what? It just takes 20 minutes of doing this consistently per day. 20 minutes, just that. All right. So these are some simple strategies that you can actually use to help you to deal with burnout. What if you're dealing with it right now? To avoid it, keep it at bay, to prevent it, and then to make sure that you're mentally healthy, so that now you're able to be aware of anxiety management. So let's avoid passive anxiety management and let us be active in dealing with our anxiety. So with that, Grace, I'm going to invite questions at this point.
Okay, there are many. So there's something that I noted on the balance. The balance between mental, physical, is sometimes a bit hard. It's a bit difficult and especially allow me to speak for entrepreneurs, because you leave the office, the only outlet is head to the gym, because you've got to go home and take care of the family. What are some of the things that we can do to actually try and have a work-life balance. A friend of mine was telling me she realized that she's been working longer during working from home as opposed to when she was going to the office. And therefore she wonders, how is it that I've been able to find time? How is it that I am feeling tired now and I shouldn't have? I mean, I haven't been leaving the house. So what do we do about such situations? How do we manage a balance?
Yeah. That's a good question, and one of the things that you want to do is acknowledge that my schedule is busy, it's gone higher, and just do simple things like, for example, use your phone to download an app called I think it's workout management. I can get it for you in the meantime, but the app simply gives you a reminder to take a break every 20 minutes. All right. So take a break, you walk, you stand up. If you're seated, you stand up, go get water or go to the washroom or go outside. Just that. You do that. You take 5 breaks. As simple as that. Just 5 breaks during the day. Each break is like 5 minutes, and then one major one that is at least 20 minutes. That's a simple thing that can help you to incorporate it in your busy schedule.
Okay. So and in the workplaces, how like some people are burnt out, but they won't admit. And we can see, and I'm speaking for HR managers here and business owners who have employees. And they know that this person, if you start telling them that they're exhausted, you better pay them off for something, because they will never admit that they are exhausted. How do we deal with such?
Yeah, so when you're looking at leaders, there's a way that you identify. And once you've identified, you look at ways. One of the ways is, first of all, having a conversation around burnout. It is unfortunately sad that we don't have these conversations about burnout. And that's one of the reasons why it is eating us up. All right.
Yes.
Because we don't talk about it, we don't have this conversation. So number one, talk about it. And then number two, appreciate. There's a quote, a famous quote that says, if you cannot appreciate, if you don't have the money to appreciate your staff, appreciate them. If you have the money to pay your staff, appreciate them. In other words, whether you have the money or not, appreciate your staff. All right. So having conversations and appreciating your staff. Okay. Because when you come from a place of, John, look, you did very well. You did very well last week. We appreciate you. We applaud you. Take 2 days off just to, we want to appreciate you. What you're doing is you're actually encouraging this person to take rest, but you're not doing it directly. You're doing it as an appreciation. So yeah, those are some of the ways to deal with that.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you very much. And just remind you, our audience, we have giveaways for you. Please stay tuned. And we go to the questions that we had received earlier. How do we encourage men to open up about their problems without hurting their ego and without being pushy or intrusive?
So that's an interesting question for men. All right. So one of the things that you want to do is understand personality. All right, different personalities of men, so that you create the environment for them to have a conversation. It's very easy, for example, for men to have a conversation around playing soccer. All right. So or rather watching soccer, even playing soccer, either playing or watching, and they're having a conversation, and for them that's really deep. All right, as opposed to the conventional way of, now we're having a conversation, let's sit, let's have tea. Okay, so just understanding how the man is structured, and then for the man, just create that environment. If a man doesn't feel safe, by the way, it'd be very, very hard for them to open up. And then don't make that environment rigid. Don't say, now let's sit and talk. Invite fellow men, and let's have some random game of racquetball or something like that, and that will just create that environment.
Okay. Because actually men really don't even talk to their peers. So, and the wife is probably sometimes not the best idea anyway. Question 2, I have a close relative suffering from depression that has now been aggravated by COVID situation. They are currently not close by. They're in another country. How do I show them support considering I can't reach them? They don't pick calls. They don't respond to texts. They only drink and take medication, barely eating. Oh, they also live alone. How do we ensure that our families are not affected or don't become victims of a burnout and mental health issues?
All right, so that's a good question, and one of the things that you may want to do is to reach out to a psychologist. Um, don't tell the person, don't tell your relative, reach out to a psychologist. No, you take the initiative, reach out to a psychologist.
Mm-hmm.
And the psychologist will be able to guide you on the steps to take take care of that person, because if the mental what they're going through mentally is severe, then they may need professional help.
Yeah.
But as far as burnout is concerned, one of the things that you can actually do is just be there for that person. Even if they're not responding to your text, it doesn't mean that they're not reading them. Just be there for them. If you're sending them encouraging texts, for example, just saying, hey, I'm here for you. Don't get tired of doing that, even if they don't respond. And I have also experienced the same just during this pandemic season, where someone who's close to me was just sort of like built a wall. Try to reach to them, they're not responding, they're not picking up calls. But I haven't given up, and just today I got a text. So don't give up.
Okay. So Elizabeth is asking, how do you identify when one is burnt out and on the edge? I think we've covered that. Or is there, okay, now this is for someone else. Are there any other pointers?
One of the high pointers is, for example, if this person is creative. If, for example, Grace, you walk in the office and every morning as you walk in, you say, hi, good morning, Victor, and you're high spirited. And then all of a sudden that drops. That's one pointer. Behavior change. It's one of those pointers, because if someone is exhausted, their creativity goes down. And then also the productivity. Just watch the productivity. If the productivity has gone down, and of course not as a result of economic times and all that, but this person to be creative and productive, but this time around, there's just something off. Those are some of the telltale signs. Behavior is a big one, and then also productivity is a big one, because it affects both. It affects your productivity and your creativity.
Mm-hmm. Excellent, excellent. So Nancy Karaoke is asking, please explain more what passive management is, as you just skimmed through.
Aha. So that's a good question. What passive management is that we push anxiety or burnout, dealing with burnout, to the back. I'm aware I need to take a rest, but there's work to do. And we don't take an active role in dealing with it. So if, for example, I'll give you a very simple example. If I start bleeding on my finger here, and I bleed for 3 hours nonstop, of course I will do something about it, even including going to the hospital, because that's, it means I lack, I think it's vitamin K. Maybe I'm vitamin K deficient. So I need that to be sorted. All right. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to burnout, and we've looked at those signs, and we have identified those signs, we do nothing about it. We're like, you know what, I need to go to work tomorrow, I need to do this, I need to do that. We just put it at the back seat. So that is what we mean by passive. We're not taking an active role. We're not saying, you know what, I noticed that my mood was off today. What's going on? Is it my mind? Is it? So that's what we mean by passive. Just putting it, we're not intentional about saying, I'm going to take care of myself as far as burnout or mental health is concerned.
Okay. I hope he has answered your question. There's an anonymous attendee who is saying, there are organizations that don't provide reliever for middle-level managers during leave, and also don't encourage taking more than 5 days annual leave. In such a scenario, how can one achieve living without burnout?
So what you want to do is to incorporate what we talked about, active anxiety management, in your daily routine. Don't wait for the 5 days. Do it on a daily basis, so that what you're doing is you're actually accumulating care for yourself and care for your body. And then when when you have those 5 days, maximize them, do your level best to maximize them. But while you have scarce days, what you can do is incorporate it in your daily routine. Just those 20 minutes, do something, whether it's mental, physical, or emotional.
Excellent. Excellent. So because a follow-up question from Clive Gary is saying, is taking leave off work in the middle of a very important assignment a responsible way for managing burnout at the expense of the assignment?
What's more important is what I would add, just put there. If the assignment is more important than you are, then it helps you to choose your priorities. Here's the thing about burnout is that it affects your productivity. So if the assignment is critical, but you still stay there and you're burnt out, you won't perform. Yeah. So think about it that way. You're taking care of yourself and mental health affects your productivity and creativity. So if you do take leave and you go out and enjoy yourself, actually one of the companies that actually does this is they send off their people they call it creativity leave, and they tell them when you come back with an idea. And that company has done really well in terms of creativity, because they understand that rest is directly related to levels of creativity. If you don't rest, it affects your creativity. But if you're intentional about rest, then your creative juices are rebuilt, your mind is restored, and you're able to be to fully engage.
Yeah. And I just to add on to that, there's this Sunday that is very precious. When you know you're in the middle of a very tight assignment that requires you fully during the week, it's okay to have 2 hours or 3 hours of Sunday for yourself. No one will kill you for not showing up for their kid's birthday. No one will kill you for not showing up for their own things, because self-care is more important than other care. So if you need to take your Sunday to rest, because you really don't necessarily need a long leave to actually rest, unless obviously you've waited for burnout, for the exhaustion to pile up. So then it becomes something that you need a lot of time to manage. Other than that, if you're able to do this continuously, then I don't see why taking a whole month of leave will help you manage burnout. And some people actually take the leave. Sometimes in the organization, we give men paternity leave. They don't sit at home.
Unfortunately.
Hey, my friend, for those 14 days, even the wives will ask us, mulimpatia leave kweli ama yes, because they don't sit at home. So sometimes it's not necessarily the time you take the 14 days or the 1 month that you take. It is the quality of the amount of time that you have, what you do with it is what will help you manage burnout. So as we continue, it's 8:53. I feel unappreciated at work. Okay, wait, there's someone who was talking about how do you know it's time to leave a job? And then I feel unappreciated at work, yet I work too hard in a very busy office. Actually, I'm burning out. That's not a question. So how do you know it's time to leave a job?
As it relates to burnout, is it related to what he's just asked about, feeling unappreciated?
Yes.
Okay, so this is what I'll actually, today we've only tackled what we call active anxiety management, but one of the other areas that we look at when we're talking about burnout is what we call motivation and flow. Okay, motivation and flow. What you want to achieve is a level of flow, what we call flow, where your challenge and your motivation are at par. All right, challenge and motivation are at par, where you have a high motivation but the challenge is low. You will actually get frustrated, and you can actually end up in burnout. Okay. So if you're not upskilled, then that's one of the causes for I am being underutilized. So you can take your motivation elsewhere. And the other extreme is where your motivation is high, but the challenge is much higher. And of course, that's also results in burnout. And so what you want to do there is to ensure, can the organization reorganize things? Can someone else be hired, or can you be moved to a different department? Because now the challenge is way higher than your level of motivation. What you want to achieve is where what we're talking about here, what you're saying is you want to have your motivation and the challenge at par, at a good level. And that just helps you to work and, access your creativity and be able to use your motivation to keep on working. Where you feel underutilized, that's where you can either, if there's nothing else for you in that organization, that's a clear tell sign that you're being underutilized.
Mm-hmm. And if you're wondering when it's time to quit a job, please find another one as you wonder that. It's easier that way. So there's someone else again on joblessness, mental health. How do you stop overthinking? The thought of joblessness is draining.
So one of the other strategies to deal with anxiety is identify and name that anxiety. If you're jobless, ask yourself, what is making me anxious? So let me just walk you through a brief example. I am jobless. I am anxious about paying my bills. So you name that anxiety, bills, all right? Or I'm jobless. Another anxiety could be, I'll not fit in society, for example. So take that, let's take bills and fitting in society. We've named those two. Bills. What is at the other extreme of bills? Why do you want to be able to pay your bills? The other extreme is not just the fear. Now leave the fear. The fear is if I don't pay my rent, I'll be kicked out. That's one end. Now look at the other end. It speaks of lifestyle. What lifestyle are you looking for? You want to live in a nice place, be able to pay your bills. Now begin to build that up. All right. Where do I actually want to live? Now build that up. I want to have this level of amount of income. And now what you're doing is that you're not just thinking about the fear of I may be kicked out, but you're looking at this is the kind of lifestyle that I want to live. So the strategy there is think about the other end of that anxiety. That if it is bills, it just speaks of the fact that maybe you want to pay school fees for your kids, and that is something genuine. You care for them. It means that you actually care for them, and you begin to think about those kids. And now you know what will happen. It builds up your motivation, and before you know it, you have the creative juice to be able to help you to start a business or write a proposal or do something. But if you dwell on the fear, what happens is that it's just chewing on your there's no creativity there. There's no room for your mind to think freely, and it's just draining you of the resources you need for creative ideas. So the strategy there is name the anxiety and then look at the other side of the anxiety. Where will that lead you? Just take that path and let it lead you somewhere.
Yeah. And then at the whatever side of it is, sometimes we once you don't get employed for a while, probably longer than you anticipated, we start having a clogged mind. So you end up not being able to take on an interview. You're invited for interviews but never get the jobs because your self-esteem is low. So you need to actually work on you in terms of picking yourself up, like Victor is saying, so that even when you're invited for interviews, you actually come out, because you're not able to take on some interviews, you're not able to express yourself because you're already thinking that you're a failure. So you need to call it like it is. I know Jen Mutisia Jen Mutisia says, let's not sugarcoat unemployment. Let's not call it unemployment. Let us call it what it is. And I'm glad that, Victor, you're saying, let us call it what it is, not sugarcoat it, not rembesha it so that we feel good. Let's call it what it is so that we can walk from there, and it helps us identify better ways of dealing with this. Victor, there's another question. Does burnout always lead to stress? And this is from two people, an anonymous attendee and from Rita. Does burnout lead to stress?
Now, they both play into each other. Stress can lead to burnout, and burnout can lead to stress. So to simply answer that, they both feed into each other. If you're stressed, what will happen is that your mind is not able to take care of the demands, the daily demands, maybe if it's work or if it's a relationship, those areas that we talked about, your mind is not able to fully, deal with that. And therefore you just find that because you're not able to deal with that, you get exhausted and, you're not able to. So now that leads to exhaustion. And it leads to exhaustion and burnout. On the other hand, burnout, imagine going to work 5 days or 6 days a week and not either feeling underutilized or feeling the frustration and cynicism, the things we discussed earlier. And you just keep on going there. Nothing is changing. You go there, you will end up being stressed. So they both feed into each other, to simply answer that question.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And it's 9 o'clock. So allow me to just announce the winner of today. We have Edward Wangeshi. Edward Wangeshi was the last person to leave a comment on our YouTube channel. So you get a gift hamper from Balcon Housing. So Edward Wangeshi, kindly get in touch with me so that we can make arrangements on how you can get your gift hamper from Balcon Housing. And I think we can take one more question. Allow me, my audience. There's an important question here a lot of people are suffering from. Can you speak on how to address family and relationship burnout?
Okay, so the other strategy, especially with relationships, is what we call control, okay? And just realizing what is it that I need to let go of, especially in relationships. So I'll use a very basic example. If it's where you're dealing with, let's say, a husband and a wife, and you want the relationship to go in a particular way, that means you're in control. And so long as you're holding that control, you'll always be anxious because this person is not living by your script. And they cannot live by your script because they are also human beings, all right? So letting go is one of the strategies that will really help relationships. That is one of the most vulnerable and riskiest things to do, because what you're saying is, I am letting go of what I was looking forward to in this relationship for the sake of this relationship thriving. It is very hard, but it is one of those strategies that actually helps, especially with relationships. Identifying what is it I'm holding on to. I want things to go this way in this relationship. I want this person to act this way, but they're not. I want my children to do this, but they're not. So you're holding on to that. And that just builds up your stress levels and your burnout levels. But when you begin to practice to let go, my child is 5 years old, or they're 2-year-old, my wife will not always be happy with me. You begin to let go of that. Okay, so that's one of the strategies that now opens up. One of the things that will open up is conversation. If you hold on to something like this, you'll not be able to have a productive conversation, because in your mind, you're supposed to be saying this and responding this way. But if you let go, it opens up a healthy avenue for conversation.
Okay. And the last question, please, audience, musiende kwanza, just give us 1 minute. Please explain if someone is already burnt out, what do you suggest? Should they see a doctor, and what will the doctor most likely do? Nancy Karaoke asked that. Kiroki, sorry.
Okay, so that's a good question. We looked at the 6 stages of burnout. If you're at the very end, you will go to, you'll be given different prescriptions, either told to go for psychology or contact a psychologist. In some cases, you're actually given medication because some people begin to hallucinate. Yeah, so there's actually medication that can help you with that, or you don't have sleepless nights. So depending on where you're at, you'll be given that. But if you're not at that extreme level, what we have talked about can actually help. Now, here's the thing. You may not see results immediately, but maintain that consistently, and you'll begin to see the results. And you may not see the results in everything, all those areas that you've seen, family work, and but the thing is, if you keep at it, then it helps you. So at the extreme, go to the doctor. They'll tell you what you need to do based on where you're at, the severity of the situation. But if you're not there, we've just done, that's why we've done that test, to help you figure out where are you. If you're at the 30 to 35 level, you need to seek help immediately. All right. But if you're not there, what we have discussed here, those are the things that you can do to help you deal with burnout.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you very much. Halan Masaku is saying you comment about work, personal time and work time balance. We are going to have a session on work-life balance in 2021. So please, I hope you can join us then. I am so excited. And someone else was asking, please share the presentation. We will share this presentation with you on Friday. As soon as we upload the discussion on YouTube, we are going to share with you the YouTube link, and we are going to share with you the presentation. The other thing that we are going to ask of you, our audience, is please give us feedback. We are going to reach out to you with the link. Kindly give us feedback on how to improve so that we can make these sessions better for you and the experience becomes more meaningful for you. Thank you very much, Victor. I think we have really learned, and I can see that we cannot exhaust this in an hour. So we are hoping that we call on you next year. You're going to come, and we can dive deeper into burnout and the effect it has on mental health. So this informative session is brought to you by Atara Solutions, a HR consulting and training firm in partnership with the Lego Academy, a software and placement academy, sorry. This has been a very insightful session, and we hope that you will take the skills, the tools, and implement in your different facets of life. Thank you very much, Victor. That was very insightful. Thank you, the Lego Academy, our IT partners. Thank you, Serenity Studios, for the pictures. Thank you, Balcon Housing, Good Fortune Greens, Jesse Beauty, World International, Pearl Radio, Sorel Laundry, Tanus Kitchen, Career Management Center, and Shishi Naturals. By the way, if you're looking for smooth skin and good hair, actually Shishi Naturals does, what do you call them? Wholesale. So if you're looking to start a business, you can speak to Shishi Naturals. And again, you can check them online. Special thanks to Simon Washira of Think Out Limited, a strategy and communications company. Thank you, Alex Mwangi, our legal expert. Thank you very much, our audience, for tuning in. It's always a pleasure to have you. Do not forget to tune in to Pearl Radio 96.9 FM in Nairobi. My name is Grace Nzula, a trainer and HR consultant with Atara Solutions. I have been your host. Please follow us on Instagram, like our Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Atara Solutions. And we shall see you next week as we look at Boost with Facebook. Oh my God, that session will be so important. You will enjoy it. So see you on 22nd. That will be our last session for the year. And from then, we shall wish you a Merry Christmas. Other than that, from all of us, it's good night.